1 2 1 2. FP1. Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is Friday Practice 1 ahead of the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix. But I thought what I'll do is, that starts in about 20 minutes. I will do a little bit of a preview show just before that starts, and then we'll jump straight into Friday Practice. Instead of having a dedicated preview show on the Thursday, which no one's really searching for on YouTube, I thought what I'll do is tag a shortened version of the preview show onto the first practice session of the weekend. So so FP1 starts in about 20 minutes. Welcome in aways Martin Ross. Yes, drop like, guys, smash that like button. And yes, welcome in Tax. So this is going to be the schedule for this weekend then. So this is how it is, because it's a little bit different this weekend. It's a sprint race weekend in Austria. So how it's going to work is there's going to be practice 1 now with a little bit of preview before it. And then it's going to be straight into qualifying this afternoon. I'll be live at 10 to 4 for qualifying on Friday afternoon. Now, why is that? That's because we've got a sprint race on the Saturday. I'll, of course, be live for the sprint race as well at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. So I'll be live 10 minutes before that, 3:20 for the sprint race. And then the Austrian Grand Prix starts at 2 p.m. On Sunday afternoon. I'll be live 10 to 2 for that one. Right, so let's jump into a little bit of a preview before FP1 kicks off. There's not a lot of news in between Silverstone and this race in Austria. So we'll just jump into a little team by team rundown. And it's sort of, I think the next preview show will be like a mid-season review, pretty much, because this is round 11 of 22. So after this weekend, it is officially mid-season. So yeah, I'm just going to go from the back of the grid to the front of the grid. It's just going to take 5-10 minutes, and then we jump into watch-along of FP1 on the back of it. So yeah, after 10 rounds out of 22, unfortunately, it is Williams 10th and last, still in the Constructors' Championship, with only 3 points. Them all scored by Alexander Albon, 9th in Miami, 10th in Australia that he got. But let's just look at the last race. So obviously Alexander Albon with the DNF in the British Grand Prix lasted about 10 seconds. He was obviously one of the cars involved in the first incident in the British Grand Prix, which was the huge crash with Zhou Guanyu. Obviously Alexander Albon involved in that. The race was stopped, red flag for an hour, which was difficult to waffle on for a full hour and fill that gap. But yeah, red flagged for an hour, and unfortunately Alexander Albon was one of the guys. I think he actually went to hospital, little bit of problems with his back, but as far as I know, he's all good now. He's all good. His British Grand Prix literally lasted like 10 seconds, so Alexander Albon will be looking to bounce back from that, and maybe get a point in Austria if his cards fall his way and if he is a bit lucky. On the other side of the garage, Nicholas Latifi probably had his strongest weekend to date, or strongest weekend definitely this season, qualifying in the top 10 in mixed conditions in qualifying at Silverstone. Obviously difficult to finish in the points in the Williams. He did drop to P12, which is unfortunate, but he beat Daniel Ricciardo in a McLaren, so you know, this is like my F1 career mode. I'm just about beating Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren, and Nicky Latifi did that at the British Grand Prix. So yeah, they're still 10th and last, but at least they've got points on the board, and hopefully they'll improve. Alexander Albon again with the new spec Williams. As far as I know, Nicholas Latifi's still going to be in the old spec Williams, so bit of favouritism there. You'd think they'd have built 2 chassis by now, but clearly not. And Down to 9th then in the Constructors' Championship after Haas scored a handful of points at the British Grand Prix. Back down to 9th go Aston Martin, despite Sebastian Vettel finishing P9 in the British Grand Prix, you can see there. But yeah, he's had a good, if we look at the last 4 results from Sebastian Vettel there, Monaco 10th, Azerbaijan 6th, Canada 12th, British Grand Prix 9th. You know, that's not bad. That's not bad in a car that was... you know, in a car that's struggling so much and has taken such a step backwards from last year. You know, Sebastian's doing well now. Obviously, his 4 stars there, represented by his 4 world championships. Don't forget, this man is a 4-time world champion. He's done it all, been there, done that. And yeah, he's improving. He's improving. Sebastian Vettel is on the move for the second half of the season. Lance Stroll just on the edge of the points. Look at the last couple of results there. Gets a P10 in Canada, just out of the side of the points of the British Grand Prix with a P11. Only 3 points for Lance Stroll, and that puts him down in 19th in the championship now. Lance Stroll, he needs to start getting the points, because Vettel 13th in the championship with 15 points now. So he's on the move, and Lance Stroll needs to keep up with him. But yeah, up to P8 in the Constructors' Championship now. Then after a P10 and a P8 is Haas. Yeah, Magnussen now with 16 points in the championship. And I tell you what, Haas needed points, because they haven't scored points since what, Imola, round 4? I mean, look at Magnussen after Imola, DNF 17th, DNF 17th. It was grim. And Mick Schumacher on the other side of the grid, you know, he was like 17th, 15th, 14th, DNF, 14th, DNF. But the British Grand Prix, big turning point, especially for this man, Mick Schumacher. If you know me, you know I've got a place for Mick Schumacher. And he finished in the points finally after 18 months in Formula 1, a year and a half. Mick Schumacher gets a P8 at the British Grand Prix and should have been P7. Max Verstappen was a little bit naughty with some of those defensive moves. He was shoving Mick Schumacher all over the place. It was a bit on the limit from Max Verstappen. It could have even been a P7, but P8, he'll take that 4 points. Moves up to 17th in the championship then, Mick Schumacher, and starting to prove his worth, because I was a bit worried that this guy would never score points. But no, he's broke his duck, and now on to bigger and better things. Points every weekend now, Mick, come on. But yeah, Haas back in the points and back up to 8th in the Constructors' Championship, which is not too bad. These guys though, P7, still on 27 points. Now they haven't scored any points for the last 2 races, Canada and the British Grand Prix. They've been still stuck on those 27 points. Pierre Gasly, I think, was he involved in that initial... No. Pierre Gasly had contact with his teammate, didn't he, in the British Grand Prix. The first rule of Formula 1 is you don't crash into your teammate. And unfortunately for Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda, that happened in the British Grand Prix. They collided. I think on the back of that, Gasly retired. I think he got a black and orange flag, which is driving around with a dangerous car. But yeah, not good. I think it was a bit of one of the AlphaTauri's front wings that actually got stuck under Verstappen's car and hindered Verstappen throughout the race. So you're not a good British Grand Prix for AlphaTauri. And yeah, still stuck on 27 points. A shadow of what they were last season. Let's move to 6th in Constructors' Championship then. FP1 will start in 10 minutes, so I will be... this will be done and dusted in 10 minutes. But yeah, Alfa Romeo are 6th now. They're dropping. You know, they were up, I think they were 4th in Constructors a few races ago, but down to 6th with 51 points. And yeah, double DNF at the British Grand Prix. Obviously, Zhou Guanyu with the horrendous incident. He's all fine though. He will race this week. Walked away pretty much unscathed. You know, had a checkup at the hospital. And thank God to the halo and the roll hoop and the marshals and all the rest of it. Safety in Formula 1 has never been better. And Zhou Guanyu walks away unscathed, unbelievably. But yeah, obviously didn't finish the race, didn't get around turn 1. And Valtteri Bottas didn't finish the race either. Double DNF. They've got to bounce back because they had a great start to the season. You know, you look at the first half dozen races for Bottas and it was big. Looking to get back in the points. Alpine on the move. Alpine up to 5th, 67 points. I backed these guys to beat McLaren to 4th in the Constructors Championship, actually. And look at Fernando Alonso's last 5 races. 9th, 7th, 7th, 9th, 5th in Britain. Fernando Alonso is on the move. He's now catching up Esteban Ocon in the points. Both drivers in the top 10 in the championship now. Alonso with 28 points. P10 in the championship. Esteban Ocon after the first half dozen races where he was like consistently in the top 10, 39 points. Alpine are on the move. I back them to beat these guys, McLaren, who are 4th, only 6 points ahead on 73 points. And Lando Norris, a great British Grand Prix, couldn't beat Fernando Alonso, but still take a P6. I mean, look at his last results, you know, 8th, 6th, 9th, 15th in Canada. That was due to the pit crew. They kind of messed up Norris's race in Canada, but P6 in Britain, he'll take that. But Danny Rick, it was worse than ever at the British Grand Prix. Even I admitted in an interview yesterday, it was worse than ever. He said he was even 2 seconds off the pace at times, like 2 seconds off Norris's pace at times. So it's a big head scratcher for Daniel Ricciardo, and like I said last week, it is a big second half of the season for Danny Rick. Welcome to the stream, Farron. We're about to jump into FP1 watch along in about 5 minutes, but yeah, let's just rally through the last few teams. So 3rd in Constructors Championship at the moment, at almost the halfway stage of the season, is Mercedes, 3rd with 204 points. We've got Hamilton 6th in the championship, and George Russell now dropping down to 5th in the championship. He was 4th, I think, until the British Grand Prix. He was 4th in the championship, which is mega in considering the problems that they've had. And yeah, George Russell involved in that first lap incident with Zhou Guanyu, and yeah, first DNF of the season. He's been in the top 5 up until the British Grand Prix, his home race, probably the one race that he'd want to be on the podium, or want to be in the top 5. As a one race he couldn't do it, and but yeah, it was kind of out of his control. It was just the race started, and within 10 seconds, that was it. He was out. Whether he could have driven back to the pits, I don't know, because he's saying he stopped to help Zhou Guanyu, which is obviously the right thing to do. But I think that car was damaged enough anyway. I think either way he was going to be out of the British Grand Prix anyway. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, had a fantastic race. He could have won the British Grand Prix. At one point it was looking like he might challenge the Ferraris for victory. In the end, comes away with a podium, and Mercedes definitely on the up. I expect them to win soon. I don't know if they'll win this weekend in Austria, but they're on the way. They're on the way to a victory. Quickly then, going to P2, Ferrari, 265 points. But look at them, 3rd and 4th in the championship. You know who's 1 and 2. 3rd and 4th. And Leclerc, look, he hasn't been on the podium since Miami in, when was that? April? Early May? And hasn't won a race since Australia, which seriously, that's like the back end of March, April, early April. I tell you, this is falling apart for Ferrari. Falling apart for Charles Leclerc. You know, he led the championship by 40-50 points after the first 3 races. But look at since Miami, DNF 4th, DNF 5th, 4th. They've got to do better. Charles Leclerc needs to win. I said he needed to win the British Grand Prix. That was on the basis that Verstappen was going to do well. Verstappen only finished 7th in the end, so it wasn't. If Verstappen had won the British Grand Prix, it's looking grim. But as it stands, obviously it was a great weekend for Carlos Sainz on the other side of the garage, getting his first ever win in Formula 1. Yes, Jay, welcome in. We're going to jump into FP1 watch along in a minute, but I just thought I'd do a little cheeky preview before FP1 starts. So yeah, obviously Sainz getting it together on his side of the garage, winning the British Grand Prix. First ever pole position and first ever victory. But Charles Leclerc, man, the team needs to sort it out. I feel like it's not really Charles's fault, but the team are messing it up. But yeah, leading by a comfortable margin now in the Constructors' Championship, it's Red Bull, 328 points. And look at Max Verstappen's season, man. If you go after Australia, Imola win, Miami win, Spain win, Monaco third, Azerbaijan win, Canada win. That block of like 7 races there means that he leads this World Championship by about 30 odd points to Sergio Perez, who sits P2 in the championship, with a handful of second places. He's won in Monaco, but look how many P2s he's got. Look at the consistency. P2 in Australia, P2 in Imola, P2 in Azerbaijan, P2 at the British Grand Prix last weekend. Leaves him P2 in the championship. But yeah, Verstappen will be looking to bounce back actually after the British Grand Prix that didn't go his way. He got debris from the AlphaTauri stuck under his car all race. Really affected the downforce. Feels so different. Oh, playing the new game. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like it. It does feel different. I think it's a lot more difficult, but I like it. I rate it. I'll be back on career mode on Monday. But yeah, back to the real life stuff for the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend. But yeah, practice is going to start in 3 minutes, so I will just close off that and just quickly go through my predictions for the weekend before FP1 begins. So I've not gone too mad this weekend. I've not gone, because in previous weekends I've gone a bit crazy with the predictions. But I'm going P10 Sebastian Vettel. You know, he's been doing well in the last few races, back in to get points. Magnussen P9, always races hard. Haas back in the points in Britain. I expect him to carry on with that. Ocon, obviously Alpine quick. Ocon, an underrated driver. I've got Norris, P7. He might finish higher than that. You know, I think Norris got on the podium here a couple of years ago, so you never know. Norris might pull a mad one out for you, Jay. You know, Norris could pull a madness out here. He has done before round this circuit. I've gone Bottas P6. It's pretty standard. Alonso P5. You know, I think Alpine are on the up, and I think they'll beat McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. I see Alonso getting another solid result. I've gone George Russell P4, back in the top 5 again for George Russell. I'm going Charles Leclerc back on the podium. I've got Lewis Hamilton P2. I think Mercedes are back. But you ain't beating Max Verstappen. I got Verstappen to win. And where is Sainz and Perez? I'm going Verstappen pole, and I'm saying DNF. I'm saying DNF Sainz, DNF Perez, and DNF Yuki Tsunoda. That's my predictions for the Austrian Grand Prix. And let's jump in at 12:29. It's just about to start. Let's move on to this screen and jump into Friday practice 1. Wait there, let me just hook up the headphones and we'll get on with the watch along. But I hope you enjoyed the preview. Drop a like if you enjoyed a little bit of the it was kind of just a trimmed down version of the preview, rather than doing a dedicated preview show on a Thursday, which is a bit dead. The only views that gets is me watching it back to see if it was alright. So I'm going to scrap off doing my dedicated preview show. And yeah, before practice 1, I'll just do little grid rundown sort of thing like that. Just a rundown of the results and then jump into first practice. That's how I'm going to roll from now on. I'll just plug in these headphones. And get the right channel on, and we're away. Right, here they go then. Let me put the green flag on. Right, that's it. Welcome to FP1. Right. I think they're talking about the quickest. I think on Sky they're talking about who is the fastest driver on the grid at the moment. I'll probably say Verstappen. Right. Now let me sort out this timings because. Oh yeah, I think it's updated now. I just had to bring it up on screen. But yeah, the live timings should be updating. Let me know if they don't. But yeah, let's go. 1 hour of Friday practice before qualifying at 4 o'clock. I'll be live at 10 to 4. I'll tell you, I'm going to whack this on. I'm not rating. But yeah, let's go. FP1 in Austria. Looks a nice day, but they were saying there's chance of rain for the race on Sunday. It looks like they've revamped it as well. I wonder if they've retarmated. It looks like they've resurfaced it, to be fair. But yeah, up in the Styrian mountains. Love back-to-back race weekends, man. Straight off the British Grand Prix. 4 days downtime and boom, straight back into the next race. That's how it should be. Back to back. But yeah, Zhou Guanyu back out there, man. Can't believe he got away with that incident unscathed. Just a testament to the safety in Formula One these days. That Zhou Guanyu can walk away from that. You know, when I was watching that live, I was like, I mean, you can see on the watch-along, I was like, I didn't know what to say for 10-15 minutes. I was like, is the guy okay? I mean, when you don't see back the replays, that's when you know it's a serious incident, isn't it? When they're not showing replays, then you know, like, ooh, it could be bad. But Halo saved his life, man. I think the Halo saved a few lives since its introduction in 2017. But yeah, this is kind of a home race for Max Verstappen. This, certainly in terms of the fans at the race, it's a massive Max Verstappen following that come to Austria. Norris complaining he's in limp home mode, problems with the engine. I just have to change a few settings on the steering wheel. It should be all right. Lando Norris. British Grand Prix was mad, Lewis. Yeah, we definitely race of the season. That. Definitely race of the season. Especially the closing stages, the last dozen laps was mad. Sounds like Martin Brundle's got a pink Mustang for the weekend as a rental car. How funny that. But yeah, this is kind of like Max Verstappen's second home race. Like, obviously he's got a home race in the Netherlands, which I don't know what round of the championship that is. I feel like that's like round 15 in Zandvoort. Oh, and and Perez goes off at turn 4, wide off into the gravel. Not what you want to be doing, really, with a brand new floor on the car. But yeah, Max Verstappen has been pretty much unbeatable round here in the last few years. And I expect him to bounce back from disappointing British Grand Prix and win this one. But you never know. I'll be interested to see how quick Mercedes are around here. It felt like they were back pretty much at Silverstone, but you never quite know. With Mercedes this season, it's weird because one session or one race or one qualifying or what you might think this is it, the back, and then the next one they go to the next race and it's not quite there, or they go to even the next practice session and it's not quite there, and you think not yet. Look at Vettel's helmet, save the bees. Crash helmet for Sebastian Vettel this weekend. I'm good. Verstappen going to win this weekend? I think so. Verstappen has had a few wins round here in the last few years. He's been rapid round here with the so much support as well. Like you see the grandstands full orange for obviously the Netherlands. He's got a lot of support here as Max. But Ferrari, I mean, I'm about to say Ferrari need to win. I mean, Sainz won, but what I really mean is Leclerc needs to win, man. Leclerc needs to win. Not winning since Australia. Who'd have said after Australia that we were going to get to mid-season and Leclerc won't even stand on a podium again? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah, this is mad by Williams. This is actually mad by Williams that they've got a spec 1 and a spec 2 car. I feel like that's a bit weird. Is there not a rule that you've got to have two pretty much identical cars? Because Williams, for the second race in a row, are running like a spec A and a spec B. And Alex Albon will get the new chassis again, will get the new spec of Williams again, and Nicholas Latifi will have to just roll with the old spec Williams. But the thing is that opens a precedent. That it's a bit of a grey area, because what if a team decided to go in two different development routes? What if Mercedes decide, right, with Hamilton's car we'll go with the slim side pods and all the original idea. And then what if they decide, all right, for George Russell, what we'll do is we'll go down the Red Bull route. We'll go Red Bull side pods, Red Bull floor, Red Bull thing, and virtually running two different cars. What's to stop a team doing that? And they just tell the FIA, oh yeah, this is B spec and we've only built one of them. What's to stop a team going down two development routes at the same time? That's my question. Because Williams with two, I mean, in Formula 1 standards, running two completely different cars. Like, obviously, to the average viewer, they look the same. And there'll probably only be like a couple of tenths of a second difference in it. But in Formula 1 terms, it's a bit of a grey area, that. Yeah, Pierre Gasly complaining of that it's windy, and I'm not surprised up in the Austrian hills. But yeah, Verstappen, first 10 minutes of practice 1, and Verstappen already quickest on a 1 minute 7.7. Fernando Alonso P2, just half a second back. But yeah, everyone on the medium tyres then. Only Albon, Stroll and Vettel with no lap time. But yeah, straight out of the pit box and straight quickest for Max Verstappen. And I wonder if Alpine and Fernando Alonso can continue the strong form that they've shown. Fernando's still got it, man. People were writing Alonso off at the beginning of this season, because like Ocon was getting all the points. You know, people are probably saying it's time for Alonso to step aside, you know. But, nah, last few races. He might be 40 years old, but he's still got it, the old dog. Zhou. He's back racing. Zhang Li. Yeah, man. He's a good driver as well, you know. He had a great Canadian Grand Prix, battling in the top 10. I think he ended up 8th. Zhou Guanyu in Canada. Yeah, that was definitely his best race to date. And Silverstone just lucky to walk away from that crash, and lucky to be racing this weekend. Crazy that you know, four days later, boom, he's back in the car, back on circuit and back on it. Seen a little graph of who's supposed to be quickest. Ferrari and Red Bull by what, half a tenth? No. I don't even understand. I can't understand how AWS can work that out, but replay with Danny Rick then into turn 1. Oh, look at the DRS on Ricciardo. Yeah, DRS flapping in the wind there. That's not good. And loses the rear end coming out of turn 1. Full drift mode over the sausage curb. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that and scraping the floor on the sausage curb. Yeah, you just want to put the wheels up against it. Yeah, you just want to put the wheel up against that curb, but not over it. Then you're gonna wreck the floor. You're gonna spin out. You're just gonna bottom out. Following Esteban Ocon round now. Probably I've said it before, but Esteban Ocon probably the most underrated driver on the grid. You know, I reckon given the right machinery, Esteban Ocon can surprise a few people. I think he's P9 in the championship, Ocon, with like 39 points. He's doing well. And goes to P4 then. First 15 minutes of practice 1. Ahead of the only practice session ahead of qualifying. There is a practice 2 tomorrow, but I won't be live for that because I'll be live for the sprint race a couple of hours later. Be live for the sprint race at 3:20 tomorrow. But yeah, qualifying this afternoon, 4 p.m. Because it's a sprint race weekend. So 2 races for the price of 1 this weekend. Got football back tomorrow, Stanley v Blackburn. Yeah, bet it has. Is that a pre-season game? That is it, Lewis? Different engineer for Lewis Hamilton, apparently, as if that's big news. But yeah, Lewis seems to be on a bit of a push lap at the minute. Verstappen's gone fastest of anybody in Sector 2. I think Lewis is on a bit of a push lap here down to turn 4. And Verstappen goes quickest, beats his own time, and goes down to a 1:7.5 pretty much. Leclerc 0.8 of a second off that. And Sainz goes to P7 then. 1:08.6. And Russell goes 8th on a 1:08.6 as well. Lewis coming around the last couple of corners then. And crosses the line to only go 8th. Yeah, only 1 hour to prepare for quali. So you literally jumped straight from FP1, couple of hours break, and then straight into qualifying. So not a lot of prediction, not a lot of preparation to be had. Did you see the report that came out and said only 15% of the car is drive, the rest is team, car and workshop? I don't understand what you're saying. 15% of the car is drive, the rest is team, car and workshop. You mean it's 85% the car, how good the car is, and 15% the driver? Yeah, sounds about right, to be fair. But if the driver's 14%, you got problems. Your driver's got to be on the money. It's the combination. It's the combination. And when you get the best driver in the best car, that's when you get domination. Because you could have a mediocre driver in a championship winning car. They ain't going to be winning every race. I mean, look at Barrichello in a Brawn, for example. Mark Webber in Red Bull. Like, they're good drivers, but, you know, they were dominated, you know. They were cars that dominated the championship. How many races did Barrichello win in 09? 1? 2? Tops. How many races did Webber win over his Red Bull years? 6 or 7, as opposed to Vettel winning 50. So, you know, it's not all about the car. You need the driver as well. It's that combination. That's right. Sounds about right, to be fair. You ain't winning a championship if you ain't got the car to do it. I mean, Alonso had a good go though in 2010 and 12. If he'd have won them championships, you know, he had something far from the fastest car in them days, and he nearly won the championship in like the 3rd, 4th fastest car. But it's not a likely scenario. Welcome back, King Sports. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to FP1. Head of qualifying, 4 PM. Join me for that. And you know, straight into the serious running on a Friday afternoon. You know. And then sprint race tomorrow. In fact, let me check the what's the sit rep? Yeah, so qualifying at 4 PM UK time. I'll be live at 10 to 4. Sprint race 3:30 tomorrow. I'll be live 10 minutes before it at 3:20. And yeah, Austrian Grand Prix will start at 2 PM on Sunday. I'll be live 10 minutes before it. So that's the schedule this weekend. Yes, JJ, how we going, bro? Just watching a bit of practice. Bit of FP1. Let me get the live timings back because that won't update as it is. But yeah, look at that. Alonso still P2. Verstappen on in fact, that's not updating. That's not updating. Because he improved to a 1.7.4. So I know that's not updating. Right, let me sort it. Yeah, because I know he improved from a 1.77, you see, so that ain't updating. So just bear with me a second. I don't know why it's so unreliable, the live timings. I need to find here we go. Yeah, 1.7.4, that's more like it. There we go. And it's Verstappen now from Leclerc. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to quali this afternoon. Oh, and is that Lando Norris? Lando Norris out of the car. So the McLaren stopped out on circuit. I don't know whereabouts on the circuit. Is he down at turn 5? But yeah, Lando Norris stops out on circuit. Not, yeah, he's on the outside of turn 5. Wow, bro, not good for McLaren. He's saying there's a fire at the back of the car, and he's jumped out rapid. I can't see it. I can't see any fire. But yeah, Lando Norris out of this practice session, and they've red flagged it. So it is temporarily put on pause, shall we say, this FP1 session, as Lando Norris on the back of a scooter back to the pit lane. But Vettel's up to P5, by the way. I mean, yeah, it's early days in FP1, but Aston Martin definitely improving in the last few races. In Pakistan, there was a 20-minute delay, so I couldn't watch till right now. What do you mean 20-minute delay? What to? Oh, to the coverage, to the practice, to the television coverage. Yeah, you've not missed much anyway. And the whole thing's been stopped at the moment with Norris's car stuck out on circuit, so yeah, ain't missed much. But they'll get that car out of the way. Last 5 races, Daniel Ricciardo, look at that, 12th, 13th, 8th, 11th, 13th. It's not a great record, that, is it, for Danny Rick? You know, I'm surprised Pierre Gasly signed that AlphaTauri contract. You know, Pierre Gasly staying at AlphaTauri for next season. I would have thought he'd have been looking at that McLaren second seat, you know. And this is it for Norris, like what they're saying on Sky, man. Norris has got to jump. Norris has got to jump straight into qualifying now on the back of this. He's done what? What will he have done? Half a dozen laps maybe in practice. Breaks down. I mean, he was complaining that the car was in limp home mode about 10 minutes before that. So he obviously had an issue for a while. And to not get it back to the pits, just to have to pull over on circuit. And then the next time he'll jump in that car will be for qualifying in about 3 hours' time. You know, I wouldn't say that's optimal preparation. You know, usually, I mean, back in the day, I say back in the day, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, they had, they would have had 5 hours practice before qualifying. Because they had FP1 that was an hour and a half, FP2 that was an hour and a half, and then FP3 that was another hour. So they would have had 4 hours. They would have had 4 hours of practice before jumping into quali a few, 3-4 years ago. These days, the practice sessions are an hour. So you're down to 3 hours of practice. But on a sprint race weekend, you only get 1 hour of practice before quali. Then there is another practice session tomorrow, which is a bit of a weird one. I suppose just practice to get in the race runs and stuff. But yeah, there is a practice session tomorrow. But the grid's already set. So the qualifying will set the grid for the sprint race, and then the sprint race result set the grid for the Grand Prix on Sunday. But Lando's already back to the garage then. Within 5 minutes, he's back with the team. But might take a little while longer for the car to go back. And still under red flag then with 35 minutes to go. Oh, and now they're getting rid of the car. Now they're getting the car off the circuit. The crane's out. The marshals are out. And McLaren's sponsored by Tomorrowland. Is that is that a festival? It was a film as well, wasn't it, Tomorrowland? I swear that was a movie. But I feel like that's a festival. Maybe in Austria. Yeah, look at the fans, nearly all the fans in orange. Not for McLaren. Not McLaren papaya orange, but Dutch orange. I don't know what you call it. Netherlands orange. Holland orange. But yeah, the McLaren's moved off the circuit now, and they should be getting this session back underway again in the next couple of minutes. Not ideal for Lando Norris. That he's gonna have to jump into qualifying cold. You know, probably the worst time to have an issue in FP1 is on a sprint race weekend. You can have an issue in FP1 on a normal weekend and get away with it. You've still got an hour of FP2. You've still got an hour of FP3. But on a sprint race weekend, that is it for Lando Norris. Next time he jumps in that car is for quali. But we are back underway. Green flag then. Sort that out. Yep. So we're back underway then with 32 and a half minutes to go in practice 1. It's Verstappen from Leclerc. Alonso third at the minute. Alonso and Vettel both in the top 5. I'll take that for a race result on Sunday. Perez 4th. Sainz 6th. Oh, this is interesting what they're talking about on Sky, saying about they're expecting big news with regards to 2026 engines. Obviously, the engine regulations are pretty much stable now until 2026, and then they're having a bit of a revamp. Porsche wants to enter. Audi looking at getting in. But I don't know if... You see, this is kind of clickbait, this whole Porsche wanting to enter Formula 1 and Audi wanting to enter Formula 1. Because I think that people think that they're going to enter full teams. Like, they're going to enter a Porsche team and an Audi team. But I don't see that. I feel like they're just going to be engine suppliers. I mean, I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. I'd love to see Porsche fully in Formula 1 or Audi fully in Formula 1, but I feel like they're just going to be, Porsche probably teaming up with Red Bull, and, it'd probably be Red Bull Porsche in a few years. Audi might buy into McLaren or supply engines for McLaren. I see a scenario like that rather than them entering a fully fledged team. But Andretti, which are an American racing team, obviously owned by Mario Andretti. I think he was F1 world champion in like 79, something like that, 78. But yeah, Andretti, which is obviously a very historic racing team in the US, they're looking at joining Formula 1 as a proper team, as an 11th team. I back that. I'd love to see that. We've already got one. We've already got Haas in. You can get Andretti in as well. The US market will be booming even more. There'll be even more races in America. But yeah, session back underway. We're already halfway through it. And it's Verstappen Leclerc 1-2. Could be like that. As Sainz goes P1 then. Sainz goes quickest on the soft tyre. So we're going to see some soft tyre running now, because obviously after this we're jumping straight into quali. So yeah, they've got to do a few quali runs. That'll be part of the run plan, to do a few quali runs as a bit of a warm up. And Leclerc goes half a second faster than that. Hopefully the live timings are updating. Yeah, you got Leclerc on a 6.6. Here we go then with Max Verstappen into turn 1. They're going to follow him round for a lap and see where he stands on the soft tyres compared to the Ferrari. Leclerc quickest on a 1 minute 6.6. And it's that to beat. And Verstappen does go purple and fastest of anyone in Sector 1 then. Sainz complaining of understeer. Here comes Verstappen into turn 4. And to navigate past the Ferrari as well. Max getting plenty of the car onto the exit curb there at the exit of turn 5. Purple in the middle sector of well, quickest of anyone. He's going to smash the time. Round the final corner then. To the line. And a 1.63, 3.5 tenths quicker than Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. And Yuki Tsunoda pops up into P5. Go on, Yuki. Made that George Russell 5th. Magnussen P4 as well. Stroll's 7th now. But we've only seen Verstappen, Leclerc and Sainz on the soft tyre so far then. Where's Perez soft time? Alonso P4. But they're all on the mediums. From 4th place Alonso down, they're all on the medium tyres. Only Verstappen and the 2 Ferraris have set a time on the soft tyres. Go on, Mick. Mick up to P7. Both Haas in the top 7 at the minute. Looks like Leclerc is coming back out of the pits then on the soft tyres. Maybe for another quick run. Trying to beat that 1 minute 6.3. Look at that previous race by Sebastian Vettel. Started 18th, finished 9th. Still got it, never lose it. Sebastian Vettel into turn 1. Get a bit of a slipstream there. Off the AlphaTauri. Go up into turn 3 then. Brake at the 100 metre board. Down to 2nd gear. Careful on the power on the exit. Back end twitchy. DRS on. Down the hill. Down to turn 4. He's going to be braking just before the 100 metre board. No, he isn't. He's going to be braking a lot later than that. I need to recalibrate my braking zone on the game then. That's quick into turn 5 as well. Personal best in Sector 2 for Sebastian Vettel then. Last couple of corners to go. But it is still Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, Magnussen, Russell, Schumacher, Ocon, Tsunoda, Stroll, P10. Here comes Vettel to the line then. Top 10. P8 on a 1 minute 7. I tell you what, Tsunoda goes P6. The gap from Alonso to like Hamilton and Mercedes is virtually nothing. Virtually a couple of tenths. Whoa, Mick Schumacher, big moment in turn 3. Full sideways. Full opposite lock as he put the power down. Here we go with Kevin Magnussen into turn 3 as well. He goes wide. So Haas struggling in turn 3 then. Both of them. But hit the like, guys, if you are enjoying the stream. Obviously, it's only practice, but appreciate all the support. All support can get, and obviously trying to grow the channel. Subscribe if you're into Formula 1 as well, because I'm live for qualifying in a few hours. 10 to 4 UK time, I'll be live for qualifying. And live for every single Grand Prix as well. including this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix from 10 to 2 on Sunday. So get yourself subscribed if you're into Formula 1. Pierre Gasly up to P12. Haas not looking bad, you know. Look at K-Mag P4. Yeah, people are switching onto the soft tyre now because you've got to do a couple of quali runs because there's no FP2 today. Straight from practice into quali, so yeah, you've got to get a bit of soft tyre running in before the end of the season. $23 to go in FP1 then. We're already nearly 40 minutes in. I like Vettel's crash helmet this weekend. Bumblebee mode. Save the bees. I think he set up a what did they call it? A bee, not a beehive. He set up like a bee colony or something in Austria last year, wasn't it? Or was it in lockdown year? Was it in 2020? He set up at a school like a bee. Like a whole bee civilization. So he's all for save the bees, is Sebastian Vettel. If that's your thing, go for it. But yeah, we are on board with Carlos Sainz right on his front wing into turn 5. It's looking good. It's looking quick. His personal best in Sector 2 is Carlos Sainz. I don't think he's going to go fastest of anybody. Oh, he's backed off. Red flag. What's gone on here? Is it debris? I'll click the thing. Right, so we've got a red flag. But for why, I don't know. What's going on? Weird one, this. Yes, Gav, welcome in. 20 minutes to go in FP1. And we've got a second red flag. I don't know why. Can't see any. Oh, there's a bit of debris. There's a bit of debris on the circuit. Right. Exit turns. Oh, and just as Alex Albon runs over it. Is it like a strip of tyre rubber or is it a bit of litter? God knows. But yeah, there's something on the racing line out of turn 6 that they'll just have a marshal run on in a minute and get rid of it, and then they'll get the session underway again for the last 20 minutes. Welcome to the stream, Chris Poundcoin. Hope you're good. Hope you're doing well. As we see Lando Norris's McLaren has made it back to the pit lane then. On the back of a flatbed truck, which is not ideal, but he'll be ready for quali in a couple of hours. But without the preparation that he would have liked. What is that? Is that tyre? Or is it? No, I don't think that's off a tyre. It's weird. Here come the marshals in a VW Touareg. Reversing. Yeah, 2 red flags in a practice session. That is crucial. Not ideal. Thing is, they haven't really got time to mess about with the setups and stuff. It's like, you know, on a normal weekend, you've got 3 hours of practice before you jump into quali. All of a sudden, go into 1 hour of practice and make that 30, 40 minutes of practice with these red flags. You know, 40 minutes of practice and then straight into quali. We could have a couple of Could have a couple of cars out of position if they're not fully ready. But yeah, welcome in, Gav. But I imagine the session will get back underway again in the next minute or two. Marshall's jumped on. I mean, usually you get a Marshall running on. Never mind driving a 4x4 and reversing a 4x4 on the circuit. That was a bit of an unusual one, but I suppose he had red flagged it. Everyone was in the pits anyway, but a bit of a weird one. But it's Verstappen and quickest at the moment then. Before we get into the last 20 minutes of it, on a 1 minute 6.3, 3 tenths of a second quicker than Leclerc on a 1 minute 6.6. Sainz half a second slower than that on a 7.1. Then comes Kevin Magnussen, P4 on a 1.72. It's not a bad lap, you know that, from K-Mag. Bottas up there in P5, you know, Alfa Romeo. Pretty quick. Alonso in the top 6 on a 1 minute 7.6. And then it's really close from there down. Tsunoda, Russell, Schumacher, Vettel, Ocon and Gasly separated by like a tenth. Yeah, from 7th to 12th. Really competitive. Both Haas in the top 9. Is the British Grand Prix a bit of a turning point for Haas? Obviously just FP1, but it'd be interesting to see if you've got it wrong on your setup here. You've not got a lot of time to sort it out. But how are you doing, Chris, anyway? I'm well. Are you doing all right there, my lad? Okay, replay. So we're back at we're back with green flag, I assume, because we're seeing a replay with Verstappen out on circuit already. So we'll get that red flag off the thing. And yeah, Verstappen and was it Leclerc? It was definitely one of the Ferraris getting a bit too close for comfort into turn 3 anyway. But yeah, 15 minutes to go then. We're already 3/4 of the way through this FP1 session. And there's only a couple of cars out on circuit. Gasly, Perez, Zhou and Ricciardo. Only 4 cars out. And on board with Sergio Perez. Speed trap, right. So the Red Bulls are quickest in the speed trap. 197 miles per hour. I wonder where that is. Is that down to turn 4? Probably. Yeah, it is. Yeah, speed trap down to turn 4. 197 mile an hour. And AlphaTauri third. Pierre Gasly third quickest in the speed trap. Nearly paying 3. Told work I'm not doing the driving job was a bit too much for me. My feet are on fire. There's a lot of walking involved. Are you going to go back to your old role, or are they going to put you in a different... Are they going to shuffle you around, Chris? You're shuffling departments. Here comes Verstappen out of the circuit then. Yeah, everyone's going to... Surely now, with 14 minutes to go, everyone's going to whack on a set of soft tyres and give it... You know, give it a couple of quick runs. Surely. Yeah, Verstappen out then on, I assume, will be a brand new set of softs. Well, they might be a couple of laps old. Bottas goes P5 on the soft tyres. That must have been just before the red flag, that Valtteri Bottas going P5, because I missed that one. Unless he's just said it now and gone straight into the pits. Leclerc out then in the on the softs. Zhou Guanyu as well on the soft tyres. It's time to do a bit of quali practice. Here comes Perez around the last couple of corners. Goes up to P4 then. A 1.72, yeah, a second off his teammates' benchmark time is Sergio Perez. But here comes Lewis Hamilton on the soft tyres as well out of the final corner. Go on, Lewis, show that you've got the pace. Boom, P3 into the 1:06s. Not bad. They'll have a meeting, but a bit of shuffling and they'll roll at times. Yeah, you got to find what you're comfortable with and what you're physically able to do as well, Chris. Radio Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo back into the pits then. They're going to change something on the rear wing of that McLaren. Because when he's opening that DRS, it's like flapping in the wind. We saw that happen with Verstappen's Red Bull in Azerbaijan. But they soon sorted that out. Or was it Azerbaijan or one of the races? Anyway, we saw Verstappen with his DRS flapping round. But they soon sorted it out. And they've got to sort it out on Daniel Ricciardo's McLaren right now. With 12 minutes to go. Albon's P9 on the soft tyres. Go on. But obviously half the grid haven't set a lap time on the soft tyres yet. So I assume he'll be shuffled down. But you take the P9 for now. Flapping like Flappy Birds. Yeah, man. He's opening the DRS and it's just like blowing in the wind. And obviously that's not... Look at these stats. Kevin Magnussen, first job, welder. Favourite food, Indian. Pets, a dog called Elsa. That's ridiculous. What is with... That's the first time I've ever seen that graphic in my life on the telly. That's just daft, bro. I don't care what his favourite food is. I care if he's quick on the track. Favourite dog. What the hell, man? First job. I'm surprised he even ever have a job because they're racing go-karts professionally at like 13, 14 years of age. But that's a bit silly, that. 10 minutes to go. And most of the grid out there. There's only Ocon and both the McLarens that are out there. Obviously, Lando Norris with an issue caused the first red flag. Was that about 20 minutes into the session? So Lando Norris is out of this practice session and Daniel Ricciardo's having his rear wing fiddled with. No innuendos, please. It's all getting a bit messy down at the last couple of corners here. They're all getting ready to set off on a flying lap, and they're all getting in each other's way. They're all trying to avoid each other. They're all trying to get space to do a flying lap, and it's just a bit of a 4 or 5 cars there. Just had a bit of a nightmare. Getting in each other's way in the last couple of corners. And that will be a problem, actually, in quali, especially in Q1 with all 20 cars out there. It's a really short lap. A good lap round here. I mean, look, 1:06. This is a short lap. And with all 20 cars out there, all trying to give each other space, Q1 could be a bit chaotic, really. Q2 as well. Can get a bit silly, you know, try to get space for your lap. Perez P7, so it's Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton. So both Mercs in the top 4. Are they back? Are they fully back now? Is this it? Magnussen's still P5. Not too bad at all. Perez went wide there in the last corner. You don't want to be going over those serrated curves. You're just going to wreck the car. You're just going to wreck the floor. I think it's caused punctures as well in the past. Going way wide and going over those serrated curbs. Here comes Fernando Alonso to the line to start a flying lap then. Go on, Fernando. Is he on the... Oh, he's still on the medium tyres, Alonso, so... That's a bit of a weird one. Why isn't Fernando going for a soft tyre run? He could do something special in quali. Could Alonso, just like he did in Canada, banged it on the front row. Could we see something like that today? Especially with, you know, minimal preparation for everyone. You know, they probably had in total, what, 40 minutes running? When you take into account the 2 red flags. But yeah, last 7 minutes of practice 1. And as Leclerc's wheeled back into the pits, maybe he won't beat Verstappen's 1 minute 6.3. There's Sainz in the pits as well. Then both Ferraris in the pits. Everyone else is out there, apart from Norris. Replay on board with Max Verstappen then. Yeah, into these final couple of corners, and it's just a shambles. Like, that Mercedes is in his way. Is it a Mercedes? Oh no, Aramco. That's an Aston Martin. Yeah, Aston Martin getting in his... Yeah, Stroll getting in Verstappen's way then. But it's only practice, so I can't see them being too harsh on the Canadian Lance Stroll. I can't see him being too harsh on that. If you held up in quali like that, you can get grid penalties and all sorts. But in practice, you get a slap wrist, you get a telling off, and that should be about it. How are we doing, Keith? Hello, Mr. Robbie. How are we doing, Keith? Welcome to the stream, which will be finishing in about 5 minutes when this FP1 session finishes, but I'll be back live at 10 to 4, so join me, guys, for qualifying, Friday afternoon qualifying on this sprint race weekend in Austria. Replay on board with Valtteri Bottas and down into turn 4, goes wide, understeer, City. Off into the gravel, gets away with it, just dips 2 wheels into the gravel on the exit, but gets away with it, does Bottas. Oh, it can't be good for the car, that. I mean, whoa, yeah, that's horrible. It's like 100 mile an hour plus through the gravel. And straight back into the pits on the back of that for Valtteri Bottas. Zhou Guanyu as well, and the other Alfa Romeo in the pits. Russell improves then. Stays P3. Only 4 tenths off the pace. Mercedes 4 and 6 tenths off the pace. Not bad. Verstappen's 1 minute 6.3 is looking unbeatable then. With less than 5 minutes to go in this Friday practice 1. And why Alonso hasn't done a run on the soft tyres, I do not know. Maybe he wants to keep a bit in hand. Maybe he wants to surprise him in quali. Bang, front row. Unexpected. Maybe. Danny Rick out of the pits then on a fresh medium tyres. I can even see the shine. And it's not a quali run for Danny Rick. But yeah, brand spanking new set of medium tyres, and not good for McLaren. P19 and P20 in the standings at the moment. Obviously Norris out after what, 3 or 4 laps at the beginning of the session with, I don't know what kind of problem he had, whether it's engine issues or what. But Norris only Norris only a few laps and gone. And Ricciardo struggling. What's that, the DRS? Definitely better, says Daniel Ricciardo. He needs a bit of good news. He needs a bit of good luck. 3 minutes to go then. Replay on board with Lewis Hamilton into turn 1. Oh, yeah, no, he ain't turning in there. Just carried too much speed into it and backed out of the corner. He was going for a lap then. Replay with Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly into turn 1. I think he's behind a Ferrari, is he? Ooh, careful. Yeah. Gasly not happy with that Ferrari in front. Feels like he's been held up, but yeah, you gotta chill, ain't you? It's only practice. Yeah, you can't get too fuming in practice. It's so competitive, that midfield, though. You know, I said it before. You know, down to like Alexander Albon. You know, literally everyone's within like 1.2 seconds. You've got the few guys at the back that are off the pace. You know, Ricciardo on the medium tyres is a second and a half off the pace. Zhou Guan Yu's a second and a half off the pace. And Nicky Latifi, well, it's Nicky Latifi. But everyone else is within like 1.2 seconds. That's pretty good going, that, from first down to 16th in 1.2. And the midfield, you know, from 7th to 12th is literally a couple of tenths. But Mercedes are definitely carried over the pace from Silverstone, and they're looking decent. 3rd and 4th. Weekend format, here we go. This is the weekend format. I'll get my own up. This is the weekend format. So yeah, last minute of this practice session, then I'll be heading off. But I'm back. I'm back in a couple of hours for qualifying at 4 PM. Oh, is that playing? Oh no, it's alright. Yeah, it's quite a complicated thing how it works. So yeah, qualifying sets the grid for the sprint race, and then the finishing result, the result of the sprint race, sets the grid for the Grand Prix on Sunday. Checker flag is out then. That's the end of the session, and it will be Max Verstappen quickest on a 1 minute 6.3 at the end of this FP1 session. It'll be Leclerc second. Perez pops up into P4 right at the end, then splits the Mercedes. So it's Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Perez, Hamilton, Magnussen in the top 6. Go on, K-Mag. Looking like Sainz is going to be P7. Fernando Alonso, P8. Mick Schumacher makes it both Haas's in the top 10. They're looking quick. they're looking quick this weekend on the back of a double points finish at the British Grand Prix. Haas are looking decent. P9 for Mick Schumacher in that session. And Yuki Tsunoda rounds out the top 10. We've got Stroll 11th, Ocon 12th, Vettel 13th, Bottas 14th, Albon in the Williams 15th, Pierre Gasly 16th, Ricciardo 17th, Zhou Guanyu P18, Nicholas Latifi 19th, and Lando Norris, who was out of the session pretty early on, P20, and going into qualifying really unprepared. See what he can do with that. Welcome to stream, Will Rally Sport. This should be a good track. I like Austria on the F1 game. Yeah, it is. It's probably my favourite track to drive on the F1 game as well, to be fair. Austria is mint. It's one of the easier ones, isn't it? And you can carry great speed, and it's quick. It's pretty easy. It is a nice track. I usually do well on Austria on the old F1 games. But yeah, Latifi not last, so that's a big win. Big win for Nicholas Latifi. But yeah, I'll be back in a couple of hours. Join me at 10 to 4 for qualifying. But that is about it for this stream. Yeah, Verstappen looking quick as I thought he might do. But both Mercs in the top 5, that's not bad, you know. Both Mercs in the top 5. And both Haas's in the top 10. They're probably the highlights of the session. Problems for Lando Norris. Mercedes looking quick. Verstappen looking quicker. But yeah, see you in a couple of hours if you're joining me for Friday afternoon qualifying on the Austrian Grand Prix weekend. See you later, guys. Peace out, and drop a like if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're into Formula 1. I'm live for every qualifying. I'm live for every race. If F1's on, I'm on. You know the driller. See you in a few hours. Peace!